Well, good morning to you. So, obviously, very excited day for us to kick off 2023 season. And I know it's spring practice is important, and going through summer training is vital, and recruiting is a priority. But now it all kind of gets to the point where you have to put all those pieces together and find out how your team handles the pressure and the heat of being strained and stressed in a great game that we all love, and try to prepare yourself to compete at the best level you can for the 12 opportunities that you have. And that, in my mind, is what fall camp is preparing us for. And so everything kind of culminates with this. And we had a good kickoff last night, and excited to get on the field this morning and see, hopefully, one of our themes that I'm trying to teach throughout this camp is this idea that, my favorite definition of commitment is it is an obligation that restrains my freedom of action. And people don't like that, but that's what true commitment really is, from a football team or to your family. But if we handle it the right way, it really restricts our freedom of action, because we concerned with what is best for the other. And so as we go through our teaching series and obviously practice, we're excited to kind of see how we handle all of the mental and physical toughness that we must pledge to each other to have through this game, and our commitment to each other. So excited about the summer that we had with Dom. I think we're bigger and stronger, look better, and believe, like I've said many times to you guys, I believe we have improved the Auburn football team through recruiting. What does that mean as far as closing the gap on the guys in this conference? I don't know yet, but we're excited to find out.
If you raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you, front row.
Coach, is Jarquez Hunter back at practice, and are you expecting him to be available for game one?
I'll say this again. I think, and this is, I understand the question, but matters related to team rules and procedures, they're handled internally, and it will not be discussed publicly.
Next, blue middle.
You've got over 20 scholarship players that weren't out in the spring. Just can talk about the timetable and how long it's going to take to try to evaluate them and figure where they fit.
Well, that is the most uncomfortable. This is probably Kirk on our way down asked me, "Man, how excited are you about fall camp?" And I said, "This is the most uncomfortable fall camp I'm going into," and it's because of the new world. And obviously we have players that we added after spring ball. One's a quarterback, and I haven't coached him a single practice, and everybody's asking, "What do you think?" I have no idea, and so it makes me feel a little bit anxious that I feel like I may be behind in our evaluation of who we are and what we can do, and maybe we are. That's a feeling I have to battle, and I'm ready to get it, on the field and try to see what's accurate. Are we really behind in our evaluation because we have so many new faces and they're learning a new system, and or is it okay and we're on track? And so I don't know if I answered your question very well, but it's an uncomfortable feeling. But I think with the new rules as they are, to rebuild a roster, we did the right thing. And now we've got to go and hurry up and catch up if we are behind in our evaluation of everything.
On the far right side back, Coach.
Coach, you added an offensive lineman earlier this week to the team. What can you tell us about what he brings to the room?
Yeah, there's no secret that I thought I've made that a priority. And Dylan was a highly recruited kid out of high school, and I thought that when he went in the portal, Jake had a relationship with him already. So did Darren Hiller, who's a new staff member here who's been with me before. And I think that gave us an edge. Man, he is a big, good-looking dude, and he's a freshman. And so basically, I think we've added a guy that has a long-term future here. He fits the Auburn culture, and so does his family, and excited to have him. He's swimming right now because he just heard yesterday what we call inside zone, and that's all new to him. But he'll be patient because he is just he's a freshman. And so I think it helped us depth-wise, and obviously long-term gives us. And truthfully, you got a guy that's locked in that can't transfer because of the one time, and that's something that plays into it also.
Front row, right here. Hey, talk about the uncertainty with Peyton. But you know him. You've talked to him. You spent a lot of time with him in the last few months. Talk to me about your relationship with him and what you've kind of gleaned about him so far.
It's impossible for you not to visit with Peyton because he demands it. I mean, it's like I'm on my phone every day. Hey, Coach, you got any free time today? Hey, Coach, you got any free time today? And he's and I love that about him. And so, yes, I feel very comfortable with who he is and his leadership and his desire and his preparation and his football IQ. But you got to make plays, and I haven't seen that yet. And truthfully, I'm excited about the competition between he and Robbie and Holden. So I think it's going to make them all better.
The competition at wide receiver has ramped up dramatically too. Just what are you looking for out of those guys early on? Because that's probably one of the spots without pads that you can kind of glean a little bit from the newcomers that you hadn't seen on the field so far.
Yeah, we needed to overhaul that room and improve it for sure. I say that, and truthfully, I don't know, the evaluation sample was so small for most of them because this system is totally different than what they've played in, and we've got to have those guys have production. And so I do think we've improved that room in recruiting, and I do think there are guys here that can be better than what they've shown, and we're excited to see. I think we've seen glimpses of that, but now we've got to go and do it when it's real and live. But we are excited about the fact that I think we've improved that room for sure.
Another one on the front row.
You talked at media days about sort of the long-term plan for the quarterbacks in fall camp. Here in these first few practices, what are you kind of looking for from them as you guys get underway?
Well, create pressure in adverse situations and see how they respond. And, are they evaluating the coverages correctly, and is the ball going to the right spot, and is the decision to stay with the run or get into the RPO, the pass off of that. All of those things will be evaluated. And who does the team really rally around the most? And, Amani and I and Kent sat down, and I think we have a really good plan of the rotation between those three guys, and they're all going to rotate for the first 5 practices pretty evenly amongst the 1s and 2s and 3s, and we'll evaluate all those reps and then kind of recalibrate, I guess the word, and sit down and kind of go from there after the first 5.
Right side, fourth row.
Coach, you talked about it briefly in your opening statement about you had a big week recruiting, and although neither of those guys are going to be here this week on this team, can you carry that momentum and that juice and that energy into fall camp?
That is a great challenge for me. It's one of the reasons I hired Monty, truthfully, so that I can be very active in recruiting. I think I've talked to most all of the top 25 guys this week, and obviously we're still trying to hammer the 24s and carry that momentum that we have from this past weekend on into fall. I feel good about the momentum we have right now. Obviously, it's never over in this conference when you're recruiting, and so you've got to keep up the lines of communication and make sure that they still feel the same way about Auburn a few months from now as they did this past weekend and some before that. But we're on the right guys, and there's some big decisions that are coming up soon that we're involved in, and hopefully a few of those will go our way.
Another one in the back row.
Hi, Coach. Carrie Osep, WVTM 13 in Birmingham. On that same notion of recruiting, some would say that here in the SEC, it's a different ballgame when you enter that and add in recruiting, NIL, transfer portal. And to seem like you've had immediate success, how do you feel that you've adjusted in this short amount of time with all of that said and getting this team prepared? And what's been the ultimate challenge getting back into this?
I've always felt like, I want this to sound the right way, that I was pretty decent at recruiting and that I had a good plan and a good plan for the staff. And so I'm not really shocked that, and I think it's easy to recruit to Auburn. I mean, this is one of the elite programs in the country. Maybe we haven't had the production in the last few years that that is expected. I wasn't here, I don't know, and so I'm not really surprised that you can recruit at Auburn. How have I adjusted to the new college football world? I'm still adjusting, truthfully. It's different. And you're in conversations all the time with your administration and your people and with Rich and John and compliance and trying to, hey, man, what is the best way? I'm open to advice to manage this new world of and then, I work hard at managing our locker room, and that's difficult because, I'm a relational coach. I think that's one of the reasons that we've had success at most places I've been, and you wonder, does my way still work? And we're getting ready to find out, and that's so I'm still adjusting to all the new things that are a part, but I'm not a complainer, and there's no need in complaining. You don't control it, and it is what it is, and some of it I like, some of it I don't, and but we've got to handle it and be the best at it that we can be.
Third row on the left.
Right here, Coach. As practice begins today, is there a group that particularly excites you? And then is there a group that you're looking for the most improvement as camp begins today?
Well, I'm excited to see a lot of the new guys, truthfully. If there's a room that really excites me, I'm excited about our O-line. I really think we've improved ourselves there. And, again, I don't know how much we closed the gap on that. And I think we've got to improve our mental toughness and our attention to detail in the secondary. I do think we have some talent there, but it's some older talent, and then there's some really good young talent. And I don't think any have been stressed and strained enough to where that we need to be. But I do think we have some talent there. So I want to see them improve that aspect of it. And obviously the quarterback room, you're excited to kind of see how they compete.
Coach, with this being your first fall camp at Auburn, I know you said you were a little uncomfortable going into it, but what are you really trying to emphasize to all of your players during this fall camp?
The commitment it takes to win today. Truthfully, it's really that simple to me. Is do we have that toughness, the mental and physical toughness, through the commitment that we've declared we have, and to win today? And then stack the days from today to tomorrow to the next day to the next day. And that is the secret sauce. And the team that can do, listen, most people in life, in my opinion, and I'm guilty of this too at times, we find a way to be consistent, but maybe we're really not committed. And unfortunately, when the reveal party happens, it's a little bit too late in this game. When you find out when it gets real, and oh heck, he was just consistent. He really wasn't committed on 4th and 1, and it gets revealed. And I want as few of those surprises as we can do, and so we've got to create an environment through fall camp that hopefully gives us as much information as we can have, so that we don't get that shock at the reveal party of game 1 or game 2 or game 3, and we truly find out who's truly committed to winning today and doing things the right way. It's about I think they sent out a tweet this morning that I said last night is about as simple as I can put it, is you have to behave as a champion before you can become one, and that's everything from nutrition to your locker room, to your timely manner, to the way you dress, to the way you talk, to the way you think. And that's why our theme's kind of been flip the script of the way we think and approach things. So I know that was a long answer, but I hope I answered it.
Coach, players have made comments this offseason about you being able to bring fun back to Auburn football. How have you been able to do that, and what kind of advantage does that create for you going into fall camp?
Well, I hope they still say that a week from now. I mean, well, I believe in whatever you do in life, there should, if you're truly walking in what you love to do and what you're gifted to do, there should be some joy and fun in that. And I know we live in a world that wants us to win every game, and that's probably not reality, that you're going to win every game. Very few do. If you look at the culture of our sport, very few win them all. And we want to, and we're certainly going to try. But I do think there should be part of being the Auburn experience and being an Auburn man, and is the fact that I think this place has done a nice job, and I want to continue it, of young men that have gone through our program that 10 to 15 to 20 years still have this affection for this place because of the experience that we had here. And that experience is much more than just the 12 opportunities you have in a fall. And so I hope that they will continue to say, man, Coach he's positive, he has a good vibe about him, he's fun to be around, and even when it's stressful and difficult, and truthfully, I will tear them down some during this camp, not intentionally and not with some mean-spirited part, but you will break people down, because I think, after you have failed is when you really can have great success, because you learn from those things. And so, but I do think I have the ability to immediately bring them back up too once they've had a bad day or a bad practice or bad reps. I don't think they will ever think, well, he's thrown in the towel on me. And so hopefully, what they're feeling will continue.
Coach, what can you say about the rest of the running back room if the Jarquez uncertainty continues and the rest of the running backs are called into action?
I loved
a lot?
our running back room in spring, and excited about adding Cobb and Batee, and I think we've got good players there. I think Damari has been like one of the best leaders on our team this entire summer and spring, and excited about his leadership in that room.
The pass rushers, the Jacks, had a lot of attention in the spring. You guys added some more after spring practice. What are you looking for from those guys, especially early on in fall camp?
Yeah, I'm really that's a position that I'm really excited about, the new guys. I just Elijah's an incredible human being and incredible leader. He sets a great tone for our defense, and in the locker room, just being around him makes people better. And but man, adding Sings and Jalen to that room, I think gave us some pop and some explosiveness that we needed some more of.
It used to be you added stress by 3 practices a day, doing all these. How do you do that in this world? Stress guys and push them. Can you give us a little insight into how those things are accomplished now?
I think it's still the same way. You just don't have as many opportunities, and probably it's not as stressful physically, but the mental aspects of the way you prepare and the way you practice are still there. And obviously, we have them a long time in the film room when you're not in school, and you have these 10 or 12 days before we start school. I mean, we've got a lot of opportunities to strain them and stress them through, who's going to do the little things the right way, because how you do one thing is really how you're going to do everything at some point. And so Dom will have them sometime, nutrition will have them, and obviously how they rest is important. But we'll create stress in practice and then in the film room also with guys. The film never lies, and we have to own whatever's on it. Coaches also, we'll stress coaches. I mean, because the old saying is you either coach it or you allow it. If it's on the film, are you coaching it that way or we're allowing it? And we've got to fix it if it's not the way if it's not being done the way we're coaching it.
Hugh, I know we asked you a few weeks ago, do you have any Injury updates for the beginning of fall camp. Do you expect anybody to be held out? I guess how healthy are you guys?
But T is limited, but we'll practice from his. He had the procedure done on his foot, and shoot, I think that's it. I think we're blessed. There may be a few more that are somewhat limited, but I think everybody will be out there today. Yeah, we'll monitor his reps, but he'll go.
Yes, you mentioned at SC Media Days that you'd like to cut your quarterback race from 3 to 2 after about 10 days. When would you like to get it down to 1? Do you like to do it right before the season or give the team maybe a couple weeks to work with them?
Yeah, I don't know on that yet, but I do think you got to get it down from 3 to 2 fairly quick and give yourself 2.5, 3 weeks to find out who you're going to roll out there. And I'm not sure we can't win games with several of them. That's how, I mean, I know everybody, we're all concerned about that room, and I get that. I totally get it. But I'm at the same time very cautiously optimistic that we could win some football games with several of those guys. And so, how that plays out and we may, it may be 3 games into the season before we really know this is absolutely the guy we got to roll with when it's crunch time. But I hope it's not that, but it could be.
Anything else? One follow-up on this question. So is it safe to say that you maybe don't feel like you have to have a bona fide starter going into game 1 at quarterback?
Well, we'll have a starter. Does it remain bona fide? Show me the stats from game 1, and it comes down to how's the quarterback judged. His quarterback is judged by how the team plays around him and his win-loss record. And obviously, if you're superior to your opponent at some point, that can be misleading. So you have to dig a little deeper and see how he really performed with what he's asked to do. And we obviously will have a starter for game 1, and it will be his at that point to take and run with. Or obviously, we're not going to sit there if we're sputtering, and when I think we have other kids that can play. So, but we'll have a starter game 1.
Yeah, you just added Senda the other day. Are you finished adding players for the 23 roster?
Well, I will never answer that with the definitive. Do I think so at this point? Yes, but heck, I don't know. I mean, this new world, I get kind of surprised all the time in this new world, and so I just I would hesitate to ever put myself in a box where you thought I misled you or something. So I think we are at this point, but I would never say never on that.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Yep. Thanks, guys.